my name is Ryan Cam, and welcome back to the 1999 Project. And this week, I only have two movies to review, but these movies were not it, either one of them. So let's just rip the Band-Aid off now on both of them, starting off with Go. No, I'm not telling you all to go. I'm talking about the movie called Go.
It's alright, I'm okay.
Go was directed by Doug Liman, the man who would later go on to direct movies like The Bourne Identity, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Edge of Tomorrow, or Live, Die, Repeat, depending on where you live, and most recently, Roadhouse, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and
Who the fuck is that guy?
Conor McGregor, excuse me. The movie stars Sarah Polley, Timothy Olyphant, William Fichtner, and Taye Diggs, among others, and I'm not 100% sure what this movie is about, but best I can glean is that it tells the story of a woman named Rona who works at a grocery store along with the dude named Simon. Simon is a drug dealer and sells drugs from the grocery store because that's not a walking excuse to get fired. But long story short, Simon is pulled away from his job that day, and so Rona basically becomes a drug dealer in his stead, for lack of a better word, and hijinks ensue. When I was looking up Letterboxd reviews and doing research for talking about this movie, I heard Pulp Fiction's name being thrown around quite a bit, and I think it was kind of apropos because this movie feels legitimately like a diet, off-brand, non-union, legally distinct Pulp Fiction. And it's not my favorite movie of all time, but I have a lot of love and respect for Pulp Fiction. And at first I was like, okay, I can kind of see some connections, but then like at a certain point I'm like, all right, Doug Liman watched Pulp Fiction one too many times and was like, I've got an idea. Basically, I can best describe Go as Pulp Fiction, but 1,000 times less memorable. Which is a bit of a shame because I do like Doug Liman's work. The Bourne Identity is great, though the Bourne movies would get better with Supremacy and Ultimatum, and nothing else in the Bourne series. They'd ended at 3, shut up. And Edge of Tomorrow was better than it had any right to be. So Doug Liman is no hack. He is good at what he does, but this movie feels legitimately disjointed, and I feel like that was the purpose, and it's also the problem. The acting is mostly solid across the board. You can't get bad performances out of guys like Taye Diggs, William Fichtner, and especially Katie Holmes. She does do well here. And the movie has a good there is a good story somewhere in the middle of all this, where this woman, Rona, basically is thrown into this drug deal, and she has to make a lot of money because, well, she's broke and she has to make a lot of money. That is a very understandable motivation. And I feel like if the movie kind of leaned into the whole she needs to make a lot of money, so she does this desperate thing to get it, I feel like the movie would have been way more interesting. There was actually a movie that came out in 1997 called Gridlocked. It was the final movie starring Tupac Shakur, rest in peace. And the movie was about him and Tim or and uh and Tim Roth, who play friends but also druggies, and they make a pact that they're going to go clean. However, when they go to return the drugs that they bought, they realize their drug dealer has been shot, and so they are the prime suspects, and so they have to get to rehab in order to stave off the cops. I feel like Go had a bit of a similar story going on to that. Not the same, but similar. And I feel like if they leaned into Rona is in debt up to her eyeballs and she needs to do this thing and it goes horribly wrong, I feel like the movie could have been interesting, but it goes the Pulp Fiction route and it dies a death. There were several times I literally said out loud, what is going on? Someone needs to tell me what is going on here. At the end of the day, this movie is pretty forgettable. It's not bad per se. There are good elements here, but again, this just feels like Pulp Fiction, but less anything or minus anything that made that movie even halfway memorable. But this movie is nothing compared to the movie that I had to watch next. And this is the movie that basically killed my killed my excitement for any high school movie going forward for this project or any high school movie in the future. It's Never Been Kissed.
Never Been Kissed.
I think I'm totally in. I was so cool.
How hilarious. How highly, highly humorous.
Never Been Kissed was directed by Raja Gosnell, the man who would direct the 2 live-action Scooby-Doo movies, which I recognize are not great movies, but sit in a special place in my heart. And the movie starred Drew Barrymore and David Arquette, among others. And it tells the story of a woman named Josie, played by Drew Barrymore. She works at the Chicago Sun-Times, and she had a horrible time in high school. Like, really, it was not a good time. And so her draconian editor basically assigns her to write a story about high school kids. And so she goes undercover as herself in the high school that she went to. It doesn't make any sense, but that's the least of this movie's problems. And if you can tell by my body language, this movie is not good. Like this felt like a chore to sit through for a variety of reasons, and it killed my love. Like I said, killed my love for any high school movie going forward, like in the year 2024 or like any in the past. Like any excitement for that or any coming of age movie is now deadened and like lessened because of Never Been Kissed. How bad is this movie? It's just cringe. It's cringe from start to end. Every character minus Drew Barrymore is just borderline awful. From her awful editor, played by John C. Reilly, who yells at this poor woman and yells at his staff. I'm just like, dude, you are a lawsuit waiting to happen. Like, if this movie came out in 2017, like, they'd be walking you out the door. Like the FBI would be walking you out the door for some kind of sexual harassment crime. David Arquette's character dreams about going back to high school and somehow re-enrolls back into high school, gets onto the high school baseball team, and then wants to go out with a 16-year-old. This movie's not good, y'all. And even if you take into account this movie came out in 1999, you gotta remember, like context is key and everything, and I understand that. But even if this movie took place in 2024, it would still be just bad. Like, it's one of those movies where it's just, like, you can't save it. You just can't. Because it's all about this woman and reliving the times that she got bullied, and it's just not comfortable to sit through. I get it. I get the point of why it's there, but I hate it. I hate every single minute of it. Her prom date, like this one boy, like asks her out to the prom as a joke, and she gets all dressed up and everything. He and his actual date drive by in a limo and throw eggs at her. It's like, am I supposed to be laughing at this? Like, no, I don't think so. I swear to God, there are like a few jokes in here that I saw in Not Another Teen Movie, which I reacted to on Jacob Collins's channel about a month or so ago. That movie is like the Rosetta Stone for all of these cliched, like high school coming of age type movies. And I can't take any of them seriously, with the exception of 10 Things I Hate About You, because that movie is absolutely mint. As far as Never Been Kissed goes, it's poorly aged, it's poorly written, it's mostly poorly acted with the exception of Drew Barrymore. This movie's horrid, and really, I can't stand the sight of any high school movie now or going forward in this project, or in current day. Like, the thought that there may be another coming of age or high school movie just fills me with dread. Like, I swear to God, if I have to watch another one of these, I might actually snap. It's a genre that I have come to outright hate, like with a burning, fiery passion. But what did you think of any of the movies I've talked about? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say. And stay tuned for next week's edition of the 99 Project, where I'll be covering, among other things, A Can of Worms, the Disney Channel original movie, and All About My Mother from Pablo Almodovar. But if you like the video, leave a like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. My name is Ryan Cam, and don't watch Never Been Kissed. Save yourself the hour 45.